Everybody has a friend that's always just kind of full of shit. You know the ones. They're always lying. They're always full of tall tales. I told you about one that swore up and down his dad was rich. And another thing he'd do is everybody and anybody was his cousin. Oh, that's my cousin. He's my cousin. Right? I want to talk about him. I want to talk about another guy I was friends with in high school. This dude lied about everything. There wasn't anything. And I don't know if he just wanted to be liked more, or if he just thought, hey, if I tell them this, they'll think I'm cool. And people generally don't care, but at a certain point, lies only have so much shelf life. Because you tell a lie once, you have to keep telling it that way forever and ever. It's like George Costanza said, it's not a lie if you believe it, but you have to keep believing it for a long time. Like if you say, I don't know, I lost my virginity at 12. You have to tell people that over and over until one day you forget and they're like, oh, you've been lying for all these years. But anyway, his mom was a nurse and did pretty well, but he said she was head brain surgeon where she worked. And well, we're just going to call this guy Joe. Joe would make up stuff like that, and Joe swore up and down he was 6 feet tall. The dude was probably 5'9". But every time I'd call him on it, I went to the doctor yesterday. That's another thing. He always went to the doctor the day before. I was at the doctor yesterday, and they said I was 6 foot. He wasn't 6 foot. No matter how much he claimed it or wanted to be it, he was probably 5'8". But it was important to him that he be 6 foot. And he would talk about just outrageous stuff. There wasn't a girl, because we were in high school, so we're not talking about sports, we're talking about women. And there wasn't a girl that didn't come up that he didn't go on a date with, or he didn't turn down for being too ugly or come up wanting. Yeah, I dated her. Yeah, she just wasn't my type. And there wasn't a movie he hadn't saw either. I was talking about seeing Alien vs. Predator. That's how long ago this was. Oh yeah, man, I went there with this ugly girl and she blew me. And then there were several times where there'd be panties in his car, and he'd make sure we'd find them. He'd always put them somewhere. Yeah, he bought them at the store where they were his mom's. But it was always something. He lied about his ACT score. He lied about his grades. And golf, he was an okay 80s, low 90s shooting golfer. That's not bad. I mean, that's better than the average golfer, and that's better than a lot of people will ever be. And whenever he played with us, that's what he'd shoot. He'd go play with his dad, and he'd just come in with ridiculous scores. And we wouldn't believe him, because he got so much so we'd see him out playing with his dad. Like, yeah, I guarantee you he shoots like a 72 today. And sure enough, he'd call us. Because every time we'd play, he'd get off to a poor start and just say, quit keeping my score. And then by the end of the round, oh, this is what I'm shooting. Just stuff like that. It took so much energy to do that. So much time and effort just to lie and lie and lie and lie some more. And you'd think, oh, well, maybe he had problems at home. He wasn't hurting for attention. He was the only child of divorced parents. You get tons of attention. You kidding me? You're the only child and your parents are divorced? I'm not with my daughter's mother. She's not hurting for attention. My daughter gets more attention than she knows what to do with. And 3-year-olds would kill for attention. Just think about how much he got. His parents have been divorced for years. And he'd still lie about stuff. We'd catch him in a lie and he'd lie. Oh yeah, I worked there. Yeah, it wasn't for me. And then another bigger lie. He went off to college out of state, and he claimed he was on the golf team there. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm number 6. You mean this awful, could barely break 90 golfer is number 6? Yeah, I'm number 6. And we might have believed that. It could have been a terrible team. Some schools, D3 and otherwise, will take you if you're a shitty golfer. But I wouldn't even give him that a chance, because he always lied about stuff. And then he started talking about the tournaments he played in. Yeah, that was a tournament where I blew up and shot a 79. I'd never seen him break 80. He never shot better than 85 when he played with me. I know what you're probably thinking, well, he could have got better. No. He couldn't have got better. He didn't have the game for that. But he swore he was on the team, and we checked the website, and we never did see Mr. Number 6. And he lies some more. Just so much effort and energy goes into that. It's like I said before, I don't understand it. I mean, I've had bosses that were like that. He had a boss that swore up and down he was an Olympic class swimmer. He was this great thing at basketball. And that there was just all kinds of other stuff. And this guy, Joe, he was a big one-upsman. Didn't matter what you did, what girl you went out with, or what accomplishment you had. He had to bring up something he'd done that was better. Oh, you made 32 on the ACT? Man, I made 34. Oh, wait, you dated that girl? There's no way. I turned her down months ago, and I told her what a piece of shit you were, so I don't know why she's dating you. Just too much stuff, but we still hung out with him for some reason. I always thought he was an asshole. Still do, for that matter. But one thing I will give him credit for, he might have lied, but he always had plans. He was always up for whatever and had plans for whatever. But he would lie about everything. And he never told small lies either. They were just always huge, tall tales. There's one story. He called this girl that was in my class and got her house, and he said, hey, I'm going to come over and take her on her date. And her dad was like, sure. And he was just like, well, hell yeah. And he went over there and took her out, and he actually ended up eating 2 dinners and got sick, which, hey, he went for it all. He went all out. And I asked the girl the next day, or a couple days later, like, why did you go out with him again? And she said, here's what happened. I've been talking to a guy at another school, also named Joe. And I didn't have my cell phone, and he called the house, and my dad's like, hey, Joe's coming by, and he wanted you to go eat. And you're like, yeah, I'll go. I took a shower. And then when I saw it was him, I pretended like I had an 8 o'clock curfew. So that's how well thought of Joe was.